You're sitting at your kitchen table, coffee getting cold, staring at your investment app. $500 a month. How long until I actually hit $1 million? And then it hits you. What actually happens when you get there? Most people think it's a finish line. It's not. That's where things get interesting. Today, I'll show you exactly what happens when your investments hit $1 million. Financially, mentally, and in real life. And halfway through, something will completely change how you see money. Let's talk about someone named James. He's not a genius investor. No day trading, no crazy risks. Just $600 a month. Consistently. And one Tuesday morning, he opens his app and sees it. $1,002,847. He freezes, refreshes, looks again, and then one thought hits him. Now what? That's exactly what we're going to answer, because what happens after $1 million matters just as much as getting there. Here's the first thing that changes, and it's purely mathematical, but it'll blow your mind. Before James hit $1 million, his $600 monthly contribution was doing a lot of heavy lifting. At a 7% average annual return, which is a reasonable historical average for a broad index fund, adjusted for inflation, his portfolio was growing by roughly $35,000 to $50,000 per year in his final few years of the climb. That's solid. That's real progress. But here's what changes the moment he crosses $1 million. His portfolio, at 7% annual return, now generates approximately $70,000 per year on its own, without James doing anything, without him adding a single dollar. Let that land. James's money is now making more per year than the median household income in the United States. Pause. Think about that for a second. James used to go to work to make his money grow. Now his money goes to work so James doesn't have to. At least not as hard. This is what investors call critical mass. The point where compounding starts doing more for you than your contributions ever could. Before $1 million, James was the engine. After $1 million, compounding is the engine. James is just the fuel. But here's something nobody talks about enough, and it might actually be more important than the math. When James hit $1 million, something shifted in his head. Not overnight, gradually, like a fog lifting. And for the first time, he didn't feel chasing money anymore. He stopped obsessing over every market dip. When the market dropped 11% one spring, James noticed it, shrugged, and made dinner. And that reaction itself was new, because he finally understood something he didn't before. An 11% drop on $1 million is a $110,000 loss on paper. But it's still just paper, not panic. And more importantly, recovery has always come, every single time in history. So instead of fear, he felt patience. He had context now, perspective, the kind of perspective you don't get from small numbers. The number was big enough that the math no longer scared him. It reassured him. And that shift is rare. Psychologists actually have a name for it. It's called financial security cognition. The mental state where your baseline anxiety around money quietly starts to disappear. Because for the first time, your money could realistically support you. Okay, stop everything. Because up until now, we've been talking about the beautiful side of $1 million. The math, the freedom, the psychological calm. But here's the part most YouTube videos skip over. Hitting $1 million invested does not mean you're done, and it definitely doesn't mean you're safe. Not automatically. James made some assumptions when he hit that number, and some of them were wrong. Let's talk about what those were, because they might be yours too. But here's the part most people completely misunderstand when they see that number. Trap number 1, the tax illusion. James's $1 million, not all of it is his. About $620,000 is in his traditional 401k. And here's the catch. When he withdraws it, he'll pay taxes on it. Depending on his bracket, that's roughly 20 to 24% gone. His Roth IRA, about $382,000, is tax-free. He keeps that fully, so in reality, his million is closer to $850,000 to $870,000 after tax value. Still amazing, but not the clean number he sees on screen. And if that wasn't surprising enough, there's another reality check most people never think about. Trap number 2, the 4% rule reality. You might have heard the 4% rule, the idea that you can safely withdraw 4% per year in retirement. On $1 million, that's about $40,000 a year, or $3,333 a month. For James, that's enough to live, but not to feel rich. And that's before things like healthcare, which can easily take a few $100s a month. So yes, it's a useful rule, but it's not a guarantee of comfort. And there's one more trap that quietly catches almost everyone without them even realizing it. Trap number 3, lifestyle quietly changed. When James started investing, he lived on $3,200 a month. Now he spends around $4,600, and that's the hidden problem. Lifestyle slowly rises without you noticing. So if he retires on $40,000 a year, it actually feels like a step back, not forward. That's why $1 million isn't a finish line. It's just a checkpoint. Because real financial freedom depends on one thing: your spending, not a fixed number. So what does James actually do now that he's crossed 7 figures? First, he calculates his FIRE number, his real financial independence number, not a fantasy, but based on his actual life. With $4,600 in monthly spending, his target is closer to $1,380,000, not $1 million. And for a moment, that could feel discouraging, like the goal just moved further away. But then something changes in his thinking, because at $1 million, something powerful is already happening. With no extra contributions and a 7% return, his portfolio quietly grows to $1.38 million in about 4.7 years. He realizes something simple but life-changing: his money is now doing the final sprint for him. And that changes everything. He doesn't panic. He doesn't stop. He keeps contributing, but differently now. More focused, more intentional. He adjusts his portfolio slightly, adding some bonds, not out of fear, but to reduce volatility as he gets closer. He starts planning things he never thought about seriously before: healthcare, retirement structure, real-life scenarios. He even talks to a fee-only fiduciary advisor, someone legally required to act in his best interest. And they stress test his entire future against different market conditions, and for the first time, James doesn't feel lost in the process. He feels something else: clarity. And that clarity, that's the real gift of the first million. Here's the truth about hitting $1 million invested. It doesn't make you immune to risk. It doesn't automatically mean you can retire tomorrow. And the number that shows up in your app is probably not exactly what you'll have after taxes. But here's what it does mean: your money has reached a scale where compounding works harder for you than you do for it. The psychological noise gets quieter, the end gets visible. And the decisions you make from this point forward carry real, serious weight in the best possible way. So whether you're at $12,000 or $120,000 or staring down $900,000 right now, the same rules that got James here apply to you. Contribute consistently, diversify intelligently, don't stop when it gets hard, and know your real number, not just $1 million. Your action step this week: open a spreadsheet or even just your notes app and calculate your actual FIRE number. Take your real monthly expenses, multiply by 25, and write that number down. That's your target. That's your James moment waiting to happen. If this video helped you think about your money differently, hit subscribe, because we break down real personal finance concepts like this every week, without the hype and without the noise.